Hello there YouTube, Devin here again, and today I have a boot review for you. I haven't done one in a while. I just got these 2 days ago in the mail, so Saturday. These are my Canadian Mark III boots, and I got them brand new. I've been wearing them a little bit, as you can see by some of the wear on these. But I really wanted these because they're a very, very simple design. And I wanted these to go with all of the shit that my dad had while he was in the Canadian Army. If you've heard me mention my father before on the channel, if you watched some of my videos, he wore these for a lot of his time in the Canadian Army. I don't know how long these boots actually served with the Canadian military, but I tend to actually like these over a lot of boots after trying these on. Now, they do have your standard kind of issues that most military combat boots do when you put them on, is they're pretty stiff and they need some break-in and everything else like that. But all of that aside, I actually really, really like a lot of the features on these boots. And I'll go over that, and we'll do some comparisons to a standard pair of like U.S. jungle boots from the same time that these served, which is kind of like 80s and 90s. I'm guessing that these are from maybe early 2000s. I don't know how late these were issued before the Mark IVs came out. But I got these brand new, and they're made by Greb. If you know anything, zoom in out here for you. Greb is a, come on, camera, focus. Don't be like this now, please. All right, there you go. So you see, Greb is a well-known Canadian boot maker, and they made everything from hiking boots and shoes and everything like that. So I've seen a couple of manufacturers for these. They have a pretty standard outsole pattern of the time. This is actually a pretty popular outsole from the 80s and 90s. You see these outsole continue on in like a lot of Eastern Bloc countries, Poland, Bulgaria, Czechoslovakia. A lot of countries used something similar to this. Israel still uses this today on a lot of their combat boots, this exact tread pattern, with maybe a couple slight differences from manufacturer to manufacturer. And these are a size 282/110. I usually wear around this number as far as width goes, and these are in millimeters, by the way, if you didn't know. NATO standardization says that you have to have your boots marked in millimeters in both length and width. So the first number will be length, which is 282, which is a little bit long for me. I normally like around a I normally wear between a 275 and a 280, depending on the manufacturer. So these are a little bit long. There's a little bit of extra toe space, but with the insoles that I use in these, they fit quite nice. So and they're 110 wide, which is about how wide I like my boots to run, or they're about a 10 to a 10.5. So now I got the manual with these boots too, but I don't remember where I fucking put it down, and I got a whole bunch of shit everywhere. So I'll find it here eventually, and like I said, I'll probably do a playlist of just fucking manuals for military shit I have, if that's something you're interested in. And it'll probably just be a really long one of me flipping page through page, so you can see everything in those manuals if you're interested in any of the manuals that I have anyways. And but in the manual for these boots, it says don't polish them, which I thought was kind of weird, because most militaries at this time had a very big emphasis on polishing boots. So, but I can see where they're coming from, because polished boots are shiny and everything like that. Now, these are in the manual. It says that they're not waterproof. They're not intended to be waterproof and everything like that. And they're made out of this full pebbled leather. Even the tongue, which is made out of a softer leather, is pebbled. And that's to reduce shine. So I could see why they would say don't polish these. Because it's polish can actually, if you do it too often or not often enough or anything like that, can actually be very, very hard on your boots and very, very bad for your shoes. So it depends on what you're doing with them, but I could see why they said don't polish these as far as camouflage design goes. So it has a very, very nice pebbled leather on it, very reminiscent of boots of this time and earlier times and stuff like that. The entire thing is made out of pebbled leather. It has metal eyelets that are silver on the inside, and you can see the paint has kind of seeped through on some of them, but they're black from the outside and silver on the inside because they didn't take the time to paint them all the way, obviously. Or it got really dark there. There we go. So that's a little better. But they have pretty aggressive stitching on all of this. There's 4 rows here. There's 4 rows along the back, and I really like what they did. Is they have this hourglass shape here, as you can see, on the heel. And that was made to prevent an issue that a lot of early combat boots have, where a lot of boots are seamed right here in the rear. And you usually have a lot of rows of stitching, and those tend to rub on your ankle, and that creates blisters. Whereas this was created to keep that from being a wear point. They purposely avoided where a lot of the rubbing is going to happen. They avoided putting stitching there to help lessen the chance of getting blisters, or at least lessen the effect of the blisters. So there's 4 rows of stitching on pretty much everything around this boot. There's reinforcement stitching up along the eyelets. There's relief cuts for when you bend. So when the boot is flexed, these eyelet pieces tend to fold out to give the boot more flex, so you don't create pinching and binding in there, which is very, very thoughtful of them. It does not have a padded collar. It is just a simple rolled over design. There again, you can see the size in there. These are a fully leather lined boot. They're lined with a kind of very smooth, it's pretty rigid though, leather. It's a full sock, so don't mind my insoles in there. But the leather sock is kind of separated, so it's loose. You can pull it away from the outside of the boot, which gives it kind of some more flexibility as far as the inside goes. It gives the boot more room to maneuver without pinching and binding, as well as it creates spots for there to be less wear inside the boot. Whereas if it was connected, the sock tends to fight the outer shell of the boot. The liner does anyways, and it can create stress points inside the boot that you wear through faster because it tends to be a softer leather than the outside. But they tended to go for what appears to be kind of a same thickness and durability of leather. This is a very, very soft leather. It seems to be a smooth side out on the inside, so it's not like a suede, which is very nice. It makes for an easy donning and doffing of the boot, which I really, really like. It's nice. These boots are quite tall, as you'll see me put them up next to a standard boot that America would be using at the time here now. So there's the Canadian Mark IIIs, and this is like a 1990s US jungle boot right here. So as you can see, some of the height differences of these boots. This one is a little bit closer, so just bear with me. This boot's a little bit taller. It's about an inch taller than the American one here. This one is full leather, whereas this is leather and nylon. This is a pebbled, where this is a smooth, because at this point in the time, the U.S. military was very keen on polishing. So they wanted your boots to fucking sparkle all the time, whereas the Canadians tended to shy away from that, which I'm sure they were happy about, because nobody, I think, really genuinely enjoys polishing their shoes, except for me, because I'm fucking weird, and I really, really, really like polishing shoes, which is what I thought was weird about this, especially a boot of this time period, where you didn't have to polish them. I may leader grist the seams and stuff like that, and when I say leader grist, I'm talking to leader grist here in the American sense, which is just waterproofing the seams. You might call it, a lot of people call it snow seal. I got some here. I usually use this for in the winter. It's kind of a waxy, fatty type of thing, and it just kind of helps waterproof the boots and stuff like that. And a big portion of why my boots last so long is because I use this. I'm not really using it to waterproof the boots, but when I get them, especially in the winter around here where we use a lot of salt, I will snow seal the seams to keep salt and dirt and dust from getting in the seams, because that is coarse and abrasive. So once the water evaporates, you're left with salt crystals and abrasive dust particles and stuff in your seams, which then when you're moving with the boot, move around, and they act like sandpaper against the thread, and it will eventually wear through through the thread. So this just creates a barrier to keep that salt and that dust and stuff out, which is why my boots last so long, because I take the time to take care of them like that. So I got these, like I said, brand new, with a lot of other Canadian boots. I got a set of Mark IVs with them too, brand new in size 275, which fit a lot nicer than this pair. They're probably actually like a 277 on the inside, which I really kind of like. That's probably the exact size I wear, actually, is a 277 in length. And I also got a pair of their new, like, Arid, they're kind of medium brown, like coyote brown style boots that are like a suede, but they're perforated on the side, so they're not nylon like these ones are, or like their old Mark IV desert boots are. They're the new ones, which are like a suede, and they have perforated holes, and they're full leather still, but they're kind of lined with that same Gore-Tex as you'll see on the desert Canadian boots that I had. So I'm very, very pleased with these boots overall. I think they're going to be very, very comfortable once I break them in and everything like that, and all that other stuff. They're kind of standard for the time too, being that they're direct molded sole. They don't have any stitching on them at all. I believe this boot could have benefited from a row of stitching going around it though too. It seems like with the kind of stepped pattern that this has, that it would be prone to catching on stuff, which will eventually start to peel away from the front of the boot. Which tends to be a problem with some military boots that I find, but it's something that I know how to remedy and I'll take care of if it does start to happen to these. But I'm very pleased with these overall, and I'm really glad I could find them, because I guess they're pretty rare on the market, especially new in something that's, I wouldn't say it's my size, but they're close enough to where I could wear them. I know a couple tricks to where they fit comfortably and they won't create any wear spots on my feet once I break them in, of course. And I could always shrink the leather down just a little bit with a couple tricks I know. So just to make them fit a little bit more snug. So hopefully you guys like this video and you enjoy this kind of stuff. I know a lot of you tend to really, really like the boots and things like that. It's my second most popular playlist. So if you have any experience with a pair of boots like these, or if you're interested in anything like this, or if you have any questions or concerns or comments about any of these, I'll do my best to answer those. I'd love to hear your stories about these. If you had any, if you have any experience with a pair of boots like these, if you have any tips and tricks for me on how to wear them, or what they were generally used for, or anything like that, leave me a comment as well. I'd very much like to hear the stories about these that you have. But in the meantime, I'll leave this video here. It was a longer one, and hopefully I will see all you guys in the next video. Bye.